Testing 1 2 3. Can you hear me? Testing 1 2 3. I love stocks. What's up? Hello, Geo. Long time no see. We're going to get this thing started. We'll give it a few more minutes. We're going to talk about supports, pivot points, and resistances. Get you some water. Take a restroom break, and we'll get this thing going. You're welcome. Here in the Midwest, we like this kind of music. Kind of gives you a journey where we want to go. Always remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like it. Hit that like button. You'll get our future updates when Vegas and I put videos out. Surprise! One thing we got to always learn, be in the right mindset when we're getting ready to trade. I like to meditate. Be happy. We're going to create a watch list today. So we'll wait a few more minutes. If you ever took this road trip, Route 66, it's one heck of a drive. I drove it from Springfield, Missouri all the way to California. After this song's over, we're going to go ahead and dive right into looking for supports, pivot points, and resistances. They'll take on the market. It's fooled a lot of fat cats, but I think they don't have the memory of what happened back in 2007 and 8. That crash was a lot worse than the one we had now. And there we go. Okay, welcome to I Love Stocks. Today we're going to talk about trying to find supports, pivot points, and resistances on a chart. We're also going to create a watch list, which I think everybody should have. If you're a beginner, you want to keep that watch list kind of small. And if you're, experienced, you could have a bunch of watch lists. I break them down in sectors. So this is just one of them right here. Then this is the other one we're going to create today. We're going to start off fresh. But this is a scan, more or less. You can set up scans, and this scan's set up for ascending triangles with high volume breakouts. And I think I've got this set up to $20 to $1,000 with a 1% break. And that's what I like about this scan. I can look at this thing first in the morning and say, hey man, I got me some stocks I want to watch. You know, Facebook was one of them. And we're going to move this over here for right now. We're going to put up a chart. We're just going to have a kind of look at what happened to Facebook Friday. I'm going to clean this up. And it's all about trying to find a good entry and a good exit, and know when the stock's going to start to turn on you, which Facebook did pretty hard on Friday, but it also had a real good run the day before. Now there's a 7-second delay on this, so always remember that. I think the Dow kind of closed flat. As you can see, we closed at 46.50 with a SPY right up here right around the plus 24. So that was a flat market in the green, which was okay for a Friday, but a lot of these big stocks I think were rotated a little bit, or somebody took profit on some of them. So let's go ahead and let's take a little look at Facebook. Then we're going to have a look at some others here, and we're going to start a little watch list. Now, you know, this is all drawn up, so I want to definitely clean it up, but first I want to take it to a 20-day and show you what I was kind of running on. I'm drawing up patterns, and I'm looking at candlesticks a lot closer here lately, and it's really improved a lot of my entries and my exits. You know, we're momentum traders, and we like to trade on the tape, which is the money flow. And there's a lot of people in the room that are very good at this. Vegas won. I've been watching the tape for many years, but I've never really thought about these big block trades, because I see them come in on the tape, and you know, when I see 10,000 come in or 1,000, you know, and I see that repeatedly, I'm pretty much saying they're in the money. But something that's opened up my eyes lately, and there's a few traders in here that have done that also. Vegas to be one, Basscat to be another one, which I really admire in the room. And there's a money flow. It's when these big institutions start to buy in the trades, and that's when you really start. And you can find that I use TOS basically for my trading, and my charts are usually set up like this, where I have the news right in front of me. I have the level 2, and I was really a level 2 watcher for many years, and then I started trying to avoid that level 2, and I just started watching the tape more. Usually I kind of coincide with both of them, but the tape's been a real good helping thing. So we're going to try to dig here on Facebook. I'm going to clean this chart up a little bit. What a great run. I mean, this sucker took off from down here right around on the 20-day, right down here at the low support of 266.90, and ran all the way up to 278.89. Some would say this is overextended, which Friday kind of gave us the mind that it was. So we're going to clean this up. You see a lot of lines on here. These are my extended trend lines, and the chart that I'm using is a TTM trend chart. TTM squeeze. I'm really accustomed to using that TTM trend, and I kind of like the color of it, and it just gives me ideas where I think are good entries and exits. You can see the volume start to pick up here on the TTM, and every time it did that, you see what we had. We had little breakouts. So it's just kind of good to watch the squeeze go on, and you know, that's right in here. You see it, we had a good little run, then the squeeze comes in, and then that yellow dot was a good indicator. And a lot of times you'll see a lot of yellow come up, and that's usually, but this one had a real fast breakaway. And once it broke the squeeze, it just started running on up. So that's just one chart of many that I do use, and that's a TTM trend. And I use different moving averages. I'm going to go ahead and clear this up, and we're going to start charting this baby up. Now, I want everybody that's in here listening right now to have a stock ready for me to look at after I go through a couple tickers. And some of these might be ones that you're already interested in. And this is kind of just the way I go to look to find a support, especially if you have a stock that's broke out, such as Facebook has here lately. So we're going to go back to a year, and I use 3 different time frames. It depends on if we're crashing, I'll go back even 15 years. But for right now, we're going to just try to find some supports and some pivot points. Now you notice up in this area right in here, before the big breakout, well, let me get back here. I'll just put a line right here. I'm going to draw these lines on bodies of the candles. So I'm looking to draw these lines at the bodies of the candles. The wicks right now aren't very important to me. It's the bodies of the candles that have the mustard and have the strength. So when I'm looking for support on the yearly chart, I'm looking at places that are consolidated to find, and history always repeats itself. I've used trend lines all the way back to 2018, 19, and 20 to find supports and pivot points. Now I see another high right here, and I want to get them highs. So I'm going to kind of highlight that up a little bit. And I'm going to be pretty precise when I draw these trend lines in here. And this is just on a yearly. And I see where we had this little breakout right here. See how we had that gap? I don't want it to pull back below that gap. I want to see it to hold this support at 247.04. If that's going to be my low support, and I'm going to turn that into a red line. Reason is because we had a resistance high here, a double top, and it failed and pulled back. So to me, that is a real strong support area. And I'm going to remind myself when I go to look at this someday that I like this, and I'm going to make that a little bit bigger, that I like this support area for low strong buy if it ever dips down to that 247.04. Now I'm going to find another support right in here. And I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. And I'm looking at Facebook right now. Then I want to get in the bottom of this candle. And I like this area right in here. See where this base of these candles dip down below that, the body of that candle? So I'm going to go to the top of this one right here. I'm going to draw me a trend line right there. So let's take a look at this and see if I've missed anything. Right here. And right here. So I'm more or less done on the yearly, I think. Yep. Now we're going to bring this down to a 20-day. This is all takes a little time and a little patience, but I got a 20-day, 1 hour is the next one I go through. So I'm going to go ahead and draw me a trend line right here where these two candles broke, and that's it. That's all I can. Well, I see something right down here I want to get. See where we consolidated right in here? So that's going to be a possibility right there. Now I'm going to make this a strong support level also, this 254.57. I'm going to draw that in red with a thinner line. But I know that that's going to be another channel. See, what we've created here is a channel, and it went on for a week. It failed with the triple top, as you can see right here. 1, 2, 3. I had a triple top fail, and it pulled back. And I talk about triple tops a lot. And part of this session today is going to be talking about candlesticks to spot a breakout, and also, and I see something right here on this chart that I want to point out to you. And I talk about this a lot. And let me pull this, give me a second here. And this is called a triple top. A lot of times you have what you call a neckline and a resistance level. And a lot of times that'll pull back to that neckline a couple of times and create a triple top. Now if that triple top starts to fail, you want to be checking into your candlesticks and you want to see if it's created a lower high. A lot of times when you have a triple top and you have a lower high on the third one, or even if the second one's not lower and it's kind of even, but the third one comes up a little short, you can more or less 90% of the time count on a pretty good stiff decline, a sign of weakness. And usually when it hits that neckline and doesn't hold that support level, that's when you want to try to get out. Me, I would get out up here because I'm more experienced. I know 4 out of 5 times that thing's going to break down and pull on back. So that's a triple top. That's something you want to get used to. It's called a neckline. And then you got it's kind of like a head and shoulders. It has a neckline too. But that's your triple top right there. So we failed that. But over here, I want to point something out. This is what you call a spinning top. So when you're having a sell-off and you come across some of these spinning tops, you want to keep an eye on that spinning top for a breakout that's going to happen. And a lot of times you need a confirmation after the spinning top. And that confirmation was this next candle right here. And when the body of that candle was above the body of this one, that is telling you that's a double spinning top, and that's telling you this thing's getting ready to break out. And then on the third candle, we're green, and we again posed ourselves above the body of that second spinning top, which I would have jumped in this trade, and then later you could hear the scanner spouting off, Facebook, 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 Facebook. We had a big engulfing candle right here, which would have been another good sign to exit the trade. When you have a bigger wick up here, that's kind of showing a little bearish signal, and it's kind of showing it down here too, but it's still a big body right there. So I would probably wait until I'd hit my solid support right here at 247, maybe have taken out of that trade. But always remember those spinning tops, they come in very handy. And let me see if I got one in here. And a lot of times when you're wanting to spot these breakouts, you can go to, just go ahead and get in here and type in breakout spinning tops. Get here on the image, and you can get a lot of different diagrams of how to play these spinning tops. See, here's another one right here where we kind of had the spinning top here. See, they were failing down here, and then finally we had this green one, and that body came up above that body of that base. You see how they've got that charted out there? Personally, I would have probably jumped, well, I don't know. I think I would have had to wait for a confirmation. And this was your confirmation right here for it to run on up. And then lately here I've been drawing trend lines to continue the continuation of a breakout from the bottom of the wick to the next wick that it supports. And that would be right here. You see it kind of hold that back, but once it started breaking that support level, it was time to get out of the trade. So always remember that on a spinning top. Spinning tops are very helpful. And you can always Google and find any kind of breakout pattern you want. And spinning tops have been engulfing patterns, 3 white soldiers, 3 black crows. You know, there's a lot of different patterns that can help you when it comes to trading. So let's go ahead and get this out of here. And we'll go back to Facebook. So we're going to go now. We've done the 20-day, 1 hour. We're going to go to the 1 minute. And I like to look at the 1 minute because it really tells me the story on how the stock's going to trade. If you have time and you've got your nose in the monitor, it's time to be looking at that. We did have a consolidated period right down here, so I'm going to draw a 266.05. And I want to be precise with it. So I'm coming in here and I'm going to enlarge it. And I'm going to look for, I'm looking at places, you know, I'm looking at this bottom right here. And that's the one I want to see. That's the one I want to draw up. I could probably go up to this one right here and be a little safe with it. And I think that's what I want to do. So I'm going to have a little support level right here at 266.29. And we'll go back to here. I'm going to find some resistance levels to get to now. We are pulling back a little bit. You got to be in the now. Why did Facebook run like it did? Well, Trump put out 2 executive orders to get rid of TikTok and some other Chinese chat room network. And so that's why it gave Facebook all the mustard to run like it did here lately, to me, in my opinion. And it always has good earnings. And that's another thing, you know, analysts were bad-mouthing Facebook because of, I'd say, politically correctness. Now I'm finding a little support right here. And that's what brought the stock down a little bit, but the earnings beat them out of the waters because they thought they were going to lose advertisement. It didn't happen. I'm seeing a little spot right in here for a resistance level. And then I got one right down here. I don't want to go too far up. If we break these resistance levels, I'm going to keep adding them on up. I'm going to keep adding them on up. Sometimes a fat finger like this right here is a good indicator that maybe we could have us another breakout up to this level. at 273. Now I'm going to put this line in here. I'm going to go back and I'm just going to test myself, back test, and see. I kind of like where that resistance level is. It could have gone down just a little bit, maybe right down here off this top right in here. So maybe when we start breaking out, and I break past this resistance level, I might get in here and I'll start studying it a little bit more and find another resistance level right in here where we had this double top breakout. And I talk about double top breakouts a lot. They're, to me, are stronger than the triple top in a lot of cases, because a lot of triple tops fail, and that's really time to maybe exit a trade unless it's really running crazy like. So we're going to look at Facebook now in a 20-day, and I'm going to give you my final say on it. We've got 15 people in here. Great. Good morning, Fortune. I hope you're my fortune cookie. So we got a low support down here at the 254 level, and we got a real strong support level right in here. We see where we broke out and we touched up. So that's going to be another real strong, we're going to call this our third support level that we have to hold. And I'm going to turn that into red also. Why? Because we tried to break out there before and just couldn't do it. I mean, we broke down from down there after we had the breakout. And that, to me, is a good solid support. And the channel of that support is going to be right in here. So I'm going to also turn this one red. And this is where I think the stock can pull back to come Monday. No lower than this. If it breaks low below this, we've failed. If not, we'll stay in this channel. So a lot of times you'll see me draw on these extended trend line charts where I see a consolidated area. I'll go ahead and color these in. And to me, that's where the solid support is. Now, I guarantee this stock will pull back to this area right here at 263.72 to 265.22. And I call that my support channel. And if we hit the bottom of that, we could break on up and start hitting these new resistance lines. And that next resistance to break will be that top of 266.29 if it pulls back to this lower support level. You have your first support, your second support, and your third. Now let's pull this up to a daily 1 minute and see if it gives us a better picture. Yes. So we got our first support right down here because we pulled back here before. If it pulls back to the 266.29 and starts to bounce up, I'll probably turn around at first of the morning. I'll give it a little bit of time. If it breaks out of this pattern of 268.45, we're off to the races. But this is a consolidated channel right down here also. This will be my low support area of 263.72 to 265.22. And that's it with Facebook. If you have a pencil and paper, write these numbers down. Also, you can stop these charts at any time and copy and paste them and use them as your personal reference for a tool. And if you share them, please let the crowd know that they came from Washboard Jim. I love stocks. And I don't mind if you share them or not, because I'm here to help you learn, and you're here to help me learn. We're all a big family, and that's what I love about this. Especially since we have to babysit and be at home all the time now with this Corona crap going on, and we got to just look at Corona plays and the internet. If it wasn't for the internet that Al Gore created, we would be in a deep, deep depression right now. So everybody needs to be thankful for the internet, and it allows us to stay home, do our jobs, and to me it's gave me another avenue to make money. And I'm a capitalist. I've been a capitalist ever since I was 6 years old. So let's go ahead and look at another one, and we're going to look at I've already got a watch list started. So we've got Facebook out of the way, and I'm going to type that in here. This is going to be my watch list for next week, and these are, unless what pops up on the scanner. And we do have Trade Ideas scanner in our room, and we also have Algo Flow, and we have a very important trade exchange, which George has given us updates, you know, when he sees something breaking out or some kind of news or something. Now, a lot of reason I think we're going to be bullish next week is because the cases of corona are dropping. And there's something I want to explain to you that happened back in 2008, 2009. We printed more than $4.5 trillion and added it to our economy. Well, you see what happened, and I don't hear analysts talk about this. The Dow dropped from 12,000 all the way to 6,500. It had a 50% drop, and all during this time they were printing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Back then it was okay and everything was fine, but it run the deficit up to $20 trillion by the time he was out of office. And the same thing's going to happen now. We're pumping so much liquidity into the market that once this crisis gets over with, I see the Dow going to 40,000 in approximately 4 years. And I don't think it's going to matter who's president. If it does matter, because we're going to have another crash if someone else is elected, in my opinion, because I've seen it happen so many times. They want to change everything around. But I will tell you, no matter who becomes president, this market will bounce up because there's been so much liquidity thrown into the market. And that's just my opinion, and I've seen it happen over and over again. I've seen it happen during the Jimmy Carter era. I've seen it happen during the recession we had in 2008, and I've seen the same thing happen again right now. And every time that's happened, the market has doubled. So keep that in mind. 40,000 in 4 years. So the next one we're going to talk about is going to be AMD, and that's part of being in the now. We got to turn this red here. So AMD's next. AMD's been on a roll. Now we've got some smart traders in here that know what a breakout is and know when a stock's overextended. And I'm going to give my thumbs up to X Wall Street for that, because he played this stock like a jewel. He had trouble the first time that he thought it was overextended, and the third time was a charm. He never gave up, and that's part of learning. Now you could tell on AMD that we were starting to go down. Now this chart, I have different moving average odds. This is my simple moving average chart where I have the 200, I have the 50, I have the 34, and I have the 9. And I think the 9 might be an EMA. So I'm going to go to, this is one chart that I used to use a lot back in the day, but I want to go ahead and go to my EMA chart. Type in AMD. Let's look at the yearly. I'm going to clear this up. We're going to start fresh, but I want to pull up the yearly first. You see how I've really got this all concentrated up here. We're going to just clear that all out and start fresh. Now we're not going to get back down to this area. That's impossible. I think no lower than the gap that we had right here is going to be my final low support. And I'm going to put that right down here in that 75 area. Right about there at 75.52. Whoops. I've got to change this. We're talking about AMD right now. Low support's going to be right down here. The next one's going to be right in here. See where we had that big engulfing candle right there, and we have all these other 3 candles in here hopping around. And then we have that resistance up here, and that's going to be right at the top of that base. So I'm going to go ahead and color that in right there. Then I'm going to, so I like this right here because of the wick right here on this candle. Then we got another one right here, kind of telling me that it wants to move up some more, but these are lower support levels. Then I'm going to grab this wick right here. Now this is on the yearly. We're trying to find supports in places of consolidation, flag patterns, or anything like that that could give us any idea where this trade's going to be going. We're going to magnify this up here, and we're going to put a resistance line right here. Now let's go to let's see if we missed anything else. I don't think we missed anything that I want to hit. You notice I hit all the bodies of the candles. And when I hit the bodies of the candles, see that wick came right back to that body of that candle. So that's a solid support. Now watch this. Also, I'm going to draw me a little trend line right here. There we go. I'm going to draw a trend line off the base of this candle, and I'm going to run it right up into this one. And that trend line is going to be a support area that I'm going to rely on later, and I'm going to extend that on right out to the right. So this stock will keep moving. Now I'm going to go to the 20-day, 1 hour. You see how we had a little resistance up here? So I'm going to follow that too with the trend line. And I'm going to draw that. Now, can you see what I'm, well, get out of here. I'm using the wicks. Just trying to find a balance. I'm going to use this one right here. I'm going to follow that on up to right about, oops, shit, right about there. I'm going to extend that on out to the right. Now this is an upward wedge. We started spreading out a little bit wider up here. So these two lines are going to be important to me when I go to use them as a resistance level, or even when it pulls back to a support level to keep in that channel. This channel's lasted for 3 weeks. We've started to consolidate with a triple top up here. So that's a sign of weakness. We had a triple top fail. 1, 2, triple top fail with spinning top. Now, when I got an indicator that this candle was going to be lower here, and the body of that candle was lower than the body of the spinning top, that was a time to tell me to get out of the trade. To get out of the trade, why it was up here at a high. Now watch when we turn this to a daily 1 minute. Well, let's go to the 20-day, which I think I was on. Yeah. Let's just look at this one more time because I had kind of a memory lapse there. See if we got everything that we needed to chalk up. There's another one right here where we had a pullback to the 34 EMA. Now I want to explain the moving averages that I do use. We have what you call here, this is the 200 EMA. This is the 100 EMA. This is the 34 EMA. And this is the 9 EMA. Right now, when all of them are in that order, the stock's still bullish. Now, if we cross down over the 34, we're showing a sign of weakness. But we showed the sign of weakness way before that on the triple top with the spinning top right here, and then that indication that we had this hammer, this red hammer right here. So that was time for me to go ahead and get out of the trade. It dipped probably right down here real fast to 85 and bounced right back up, and I would have got out of that trade because I know that the body of this candle was lower than the body of the spinning top, which indicates to me to get out of the trade if I wanted to at the time. And this stock is way overextended. But yet, we still had support. We still held support. And I got it off these two candles right here. Actually, I want to adjust that. I see a little flaw here. I'm going to remove that diagram. I'm going to magnify this up. I'm going to go right here. Then I'm going to extend that on out to the right. Now it's going to be a little bit more accurate because I'm going off the bodies of these runs right here. Shit, they don't cut the cake either. Let's remove that drawing. We'll extend it out from that one to the right. There we go. So now we broke out of that channel a couple of times. So my resistance level is going to be right up here, right around 90 something. That's where I want it to go. But I got to go back up here and break that triple top. So let's pull it to the daily 1 minute. Try not to confuse you any. And I'm going to draw a couple more lines in here. One right there. Another one right in here. These are support areas. These are places where they've pulled back and they broke resistance levels. Right here on this one here. See where we had a top and it hit that 200 day. That 200 day is a resistance line, and once we failed it, it pulled on back pretty hard. Pulled on back pretty hard. When we could tell early in the morning, when we had this triple down here, we had that swing down that was going to start being weak because it never could get back up to that top. So personally, I would have probably got out of the trade earlier and thought about, once it broke down below this 200, and thought about, okay, I'll wait until it gets back up, or I'll look for an idea to get back into the trade down here, which I kind of just blew it off and going to wait until Monday to get back in the trade and see how it responds. So our support level for right now that we need to hold is going to be this 83.26 if it decides to knife. We do have a little lower support down here at 82.98, as you can see where we pulled back there. So these are going to be our 4 different support levels, and this is going to be a strong buy at 82.83 to 83.26. And if we can break past, if it pulls back and we can break past this 83.26, we'll try to break resistance of 84, and then we'll start catching up mustard right there. So that's AMD. Yes. Next one we're going to talk about is going to be another one that Miss Vegas called out, and that's going to be UPS. She identified the money flow that was going into the trade, and it was a killer trade Friday. They ran all the way from this low support of 145 all the way to 157. We had the higher highs, which still kind of gave it bullish area, and we're still going to be watching. This is another one that had a huge breakout. You can tell it on the 20-day. We had a huge breakout a couple weeks ago. It consolidated to another level. We had an ascending triangle. Ascending triangle, that's when you have an equal horizontal line. Let's do this. No, let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to draw up this ascending triangle here to show you that we were setting up for another breakout. And we had kind of what you would call an ascending triangle right here. And when that next morning, after that ascending triangle, we had the huge breakout. Ascending triangle. Let's pull that up and have a look at it. Whoop. Wrong one. I talk about the ascending triangle. Every time I identify one, I'm looking at momentum on a trade. We had the same kind of diagram right here, to where you have your higher lows. Usually about the third time it touches down, you have the third time it touches on up here, but it didn't want to break that horizontal resistance line. Now when a stock breaks out like it did off this ascending triangle, this horizontal line becomes very important to me for a support level. And I always jot that down, and I think of that when I'm looking at a pattern and I see the breakout, and a lot of times this stock will start to pull back that way. There's a couple different support areas also where we had a little pullback here. I draw a line there. You know, it kind of equals this one right here, this high we had here, and same as right here. But for now, that horizontal line on that ascending triangle becomes very strong. So keep that in mind. This thing could pull back to that support level at 145.51 for a very strong buy. And UPS is very overextended right now. And I'm going to repeat that. Way overextended. I mean, we're down here from 120 all the way to 157. Yes, we're going to consolidate and pull back. This was just a little bit too much of a push. So we're going to try to find little places in here that we can find as a support level, and we're going to go to the 20-day. Every one of these were an engulfing candle. It was just going nuts on the hour. And then when it started kind of consolidating, that was maybe the time to start to exit your trade, because we're overextended. And a lot of your experienced traders on Wall Street and people that see this, and that brings in another story, and that's called the skinny man. The skinny man's going to come in here, and he's going to jump on this. Let me see if I got a picture of him. This guy right here, he's going to short the stock. He's going to try to short it because he thinks in his mind that it's way overextended. So you're going to be starting to fight the bears. In a situation like this, the bulls won. Then we had that ascending triangle, and we had another breakout. So I do believe that this stock can pull back to this horizontal line, and look at this. See, you see where this horizontal line is right here? Look what happened here. You see that? See that little spot right there? There's a reason why it consolidated there, because that was resistance. That was a little resistance. That was a little resistance level right there. And that horizontal line held up pretty much strong right there. And the higher lows came in, which gave you an active idea that this thing was still bullish. So that's UPS. We've got a low support down here, and we're going to draw in a couple more support areas. And then we're going to start talking about stocks that you like. A little support level there. Every time you see on that hour chart, those are little support lines. These are how you're going to find support levels, knowing that this 145.51, you do not want to see this go any lower than that. And if it does start to pull back and have a red day Monday, and I spot that 145.50 area, I'm probably going to go in small. I need to look at the candlesticks and see if we got a reversal coming up. But that's a good indicator that we're going to hold support right there. And then we got one more right here where this wick is. I'm going to put that down. Then we've got the resistance to break. And I'm using not the wick. I'm using the base of the candles for my resistance level. The wick is a gift. I always keep saying that. Anytime you see a wick, it's an identification that you might have a wick above the body, you're going to have a pullback. The wick above the body, you're going to have a pullback. Now, if the body is closer to the wick, you might have a breakout. That wick means everything, even if it's below down here. And we'll find something indicator around here that shows, here you got one right here. Where is that sucker? Right in here. It's still bullish. It's still bullish because your body is above that previous candle. You're still bullish, and you can keep on hold on the trade. But once you start dropping below this area right in here, that's a sign of weakness, and that might be a good spot to exit the trade if you were up there at that high level. But when you're overextended on a trade, you've got to keep that in mind, that skinny man is going to be looking at it, and he's going to want to try to short it. The OPGN was a beautiful float rotation on Friday, if y'all noticed. So let me get to the final say on AMD, and then we'll start moving on. I want to go to the 20-day and look at the 20-day. And I'm going to start identifying where I think real strong support level. We know this 145 is going to be the place where if it does pull back, because we had that confirmation right over here, and it's a place I want to probably try to get in trade, but I'm going to be looking at every one of these engulfing candles and drawing a support level on there. We got to hold. I think we need to hold to keep it running at 155.16. But let's do one more thing. Let's go to the minute and see if I missed anything. Now I only got these trend lines off the yearly daily, and the 20-day 1 hour. And look how they line up on the daily 1 minute. See how they line up just almost perfectly? There's a little spot down here I might want to chat in because we did have 2 pullbacks of a double bottom right there, and I play double bottoms a lot. Same as I play the triple bottoms, which I think are stronger. But the double bottom, we broke the double top, and she went ahead and ran on up. Pulled back to right to this level right in here. We got a support level right here. Now, this is a channel of support right here, so we're going to call this 155.37 the first support. And I'm going to mark that in red. That's going to be my first support area, because I like how it touched down right in here. Then the second one is going to be this next channel of support. This is going to be the second channel of support level. But notice we had higher lows. We had higher lows, which is telling you that the thing was still getting ready to move up for that double top breakout. When you have higher lows, that's an idea of strength. And let's draw that in. I'm basically here to help you kind of just give ideas on how to improve your charting and different ideas of how things break out. But when you had that higher low, and I'm going to extend this on out just to see where it goes for right now, to the right. Look at that. You see the higher low hit that, and I'm using this trend line as a resistance level. And I'm also using it as a support level. You see how we run up on that trend line right in here, how it held. I'm using the same trend line that I got off these 2 candles right here. You see how we topped out right here. She failed that trend line, started pulling back. So that could be a long resistance. I've got a target on this to 190. No, not, oops. This is UPS. I was thinking of AMD. So we got a resistance level we got to break here at 157.28, and I got it off the base of the candle. And I want to be real precise with this, so I'm going to magnify it up, and I'm going to draw that base of that candle. That's going to be my little resistance level to break. I'm not going off the wick. I'm going off the body of the candle, because that's where all the strength is. So we got 2 resistance. We got a resistance to break at 157.30, and we're going to go ahead and run on up and try to hit this trend line. Now, your first support is going to be this red one right here at 155.34. Now look in here. I'm going to look in this area right in here and try to find me one more support level. And I'm seeing this area right in here, how it matches up to this, and how it kind of is an equilibrium to this another ascending triangle that we had right here. So that's where I'm going to put that trend line. And that's going to be my support level. And one more right here. So these are going to be my 3 supports. It's going to be the 156.21, 155.82, and I want to see the 155.37 hold. If it doesn't hold, we're going to fail and pull on back to these other support levels. That 155.37 is pretty important because we had that top here, and then we had the constant pullbacks right here, which give it kind of a little bit of strength to break. And also on the daily 1 minute, when I have a good breakout like this, I'll use this 200 EMA as a support level. And if it fails that 200, that means we're going to go down farther. If that 200 is very strong on a breakout stock on a daily 1 minute. So keep that in mind, that 200 EMA. I talk about this all the time, and I show evidence all the time of how they rub up against that 200 and finally have that initial breakout. So that's UPS. Low support, 155.37 to hold. Second one, 155.82 and 156.21 with a resistance to break of 157.30. And we'll go ahead and stop with that. I'm going to take a drink of water. Let UPS run a little bit more. Okay, so let's take a look now. What do you got here? Please provide your TA on this one. FDX Give me a choice of them three between FDX, NVDA, or ADBE. Give me one of them and I'll look at them. Everybody gets one ticker to look at, and once we go over them, you'll get a second chance. Make it fair to everybody. So we're going to look at ONEM. I've been trading penny stocks for a very long time also. So if you have any penny stocks that you're concerned about or you want me to look at or you think that are really good, let me know. Or if you're stuck, especially if you're stuck in a trade and you're worried and have some concerns, I definitely want to help you out in that stage. Tell you if I think it's going to go down lower, or maybe when the fear starts to kick in, you might be hitting a support level and you might just want to say, hey, it's time to buy. That fear, that gut feeling that you get when you're trading stocks is a lot of times correct. A lot of times correct. And I want to know them gut feelings when I'm trading with traders, because I can get in there and I can say, oh no, man, this thing getting ready to break out maybe. And you got to check out the news. I've got 5 different catalysts that gets me into a trade. The number one is I want to buy it at support, unless it's running crazy, and then I want to jump in it and just scalp it real fast. Scalp it for the day. When you have one that's really overextended, that's where you want to scalp it at. So let's look at the yearly chart first on ONEM. We've got a little pullback here. I want to check out the news, and I want to show you another thing here. I thought I had it here. I'm going to find out what size of float this is. So the float on this is 79 million, which is, below 100 million. It's not a low float, but it's lower than a lot of stocks. And I find that through FinViz. So if you're ever curious about a float size, you can come to FinViz, type in the ticker, and it automatically gives you a little report. And I find this more accurate than others. And this is what I use instead of, I get an idea off Trade Ideas. I know that Ameritrade's floats really suck, so I don't rely on that. But I do rely on the FinViz for looking up floats. And we're right now at almost 80 million. So we'll take that down, and we know that it's got an 80 million float. Now I'm going to try to find a support level. You see we pulled back right in here. Oh, I'm going to check out the news. Life Hair Care, second quarter results, conference call, announced the second quarter results. Price target was raised to 43 to 40. So heck, we're at a bargain down here. And I price target to 38. I think healthcare stocks are the stocks that we need to start. The money's going to start switching over once we hit a bubble in tech. I think that would be your next area to get into. So we got between 36 and what? $43 price targets. So everybody's hyped up on this stock right now. And it's had a huge pullback. Now we can pull back to the 200 on a yearly, daily. But we're going to try to find a support level right now. And that's on this chart. I'm going to be talking about a pivot point. And also I'm going to be talking about support. As you can see, this area right here at 29.28 is a pivot point, because we broke out of support and we hit resistance. She pulled back right to that support area a couple of times, and I'm using the body of the candles. And that's what you would call a pivot point area on a yearly. And this stock ain't been out for a year. So always remember, that's going to be your pivot point. We don't want it to go any lower than this area right here at 29.28. Now we have a resistance level right here where we've double topped. You see what I'm saying? And we topped right here on this candle right here. So I'm looking at connections. I'm looking at places where they meet. History repeats itself. So we have a triple right there. So that's going to be a resistance level that we need to break. And that's going to be at 32.22. I'm looking at that because we have a huge gap here. And I want to draw, if we break that resistance, See where we kind of consolidated right here on that base of that candle. I'm telling you, body of that candle. And here's another example of another candle that was getting ready to break out. We had that huge wick up here, but that body, and she went ahead and filled that body. So I'm always looking at them wicks. Let's get back here. Now we're going to try to find an equilibrium down here for a support level. We've touched this spot a couple times down here. We tried to break out up in there, so I'm going to draw that in. And the more you do of these, the faster. I can look at a chart and tell you within 10 seconds if I like it or if I don't. It only takes me 10 seconds on a yearly chart to say I'm interested or I'm not. And I always like to check out the news. You notice I went straight to the news before I even did anything, because I want to know, I want to be in the now. I want to know how other traders think. I'm going to wrap that inside of my head. And you get that feeling every morning, and you gotta be positive when you get in here and you start trading. If you're having a bad day, if your wife's beating on you, you know, or your kids are out causing trouble and you have other things on your mind, it may be a day not to be trading. But the day to be trading is when you're jolly, you got a good cup of coffee sitting next to you, and you're surrounded by a bunch of good traders that really know what they're doing. So we've got our support channels already in here. I'm satisfied on the yearly. I'm going to just go up one more right here at 34.40. Now I'm going to break this down to a 20-day, 1 hour. And I'm just going to identify spots in here where I think I might have missed, like this right in here. Then we're going to pull up the daily 1 minute and see if there's anything that I have that wants to change my mind. And then after I look at the daily 1 minute, I'll go back and look at the 20-day. I've had a pretty hard sell-off. We've had upgrades on it. So I think this stock can definitely move up. And we know that solid support's right down here at this bottom right here at 29. Let's go to daily one. Now see, there's other spots in here that I want to look at. Right here's one. See, you had the ascending triangle right here. You identify these patterns, I guarantee you will become a lot more confident in your trading. That is an ascending triangle. You had the horizontal line right here. Didn't want to break it many times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finally on the 6th time. But you had higher lows. You had higher lows. That's telling you, and especially on a downtrend, this is very impressive for a breakout back up. On a downtrend with an ascending triangle, you're tempted to go ahead and break up to this next resistance line. But I'm going to find a couple more resistance levels in here. And even after hours, you're starting to break out. So I see a double top here. I definitely want to draw a trend line in there. And I got to type this in I want to watch this Monday. I want to check out the options. This could be a trade for me on Monday. Thank you for identifying this stock to me. Okay, channel of support. Strong support's going to be right down here. If it decides to knife, you know, we have the pre-market idiots that all they do is short these breakout stocks. And that's all they do. Then they're off today and they're off to work. So that's going to be a solid support at 29.53. Jot that down. Your next support's going to be right here. And let's put a line right in here. Yeah, let's put a line right in here. See where we had this little base of that candle right there, and then the body of that one right there? And we come over here and we had that gap up on this candle right here. So that's going to be your second support. This is going to be your second support channel. I've changed my mind. I want to make it a support channel. Why? Because we had this down here. The wick got down in there. Then we had this little consolidated area right in here. So And then we're going to have another one right in. Okay, this is the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at this spot area too. I'll show you why. No, I don't want that one. Ah! I never pushed that button before. This is the area I wanted to look at. I'm seeing that pullback right here, and I'm seeing that little pivot point area there. So the first support's going to be right here at 29, right at 30. The second one is going to be right here at, well, that's not a very big number right there, so we'll call this our first support channel. Looking for places of consolidation. So our first support channel is going to be here 29.90 to 30. The second support 29.67 to 29.77 with a strong buy at this horizontal line on the ascending triangle. Always remember that ascending triangle is a very strong support, and if we break these two levels, we hit this, I'm going to bet you, I'll bet anybody $1 will bounce off that. 29.53. Resistance levels we need to break now is going to be this one right here, and I'm going to magnify this up just a little bit so I can see it. Well, I can't see it. Come on, you idiot. It's going to be this 29, 20, 30, 22 area, and if we break that 22.30, we'll get up to these other resistance levels of 30.54, 30.69, and then long 31.26. So that's going to be, I like ONEM. Thank you very much. Keep that on watch. You can always write these numbers down and save this chart for your personal reference. But there's little areas there. We had a chart pattern, and I tell you what, when I'm looking for this resistance level and it does break past this 33.22 and it gives up, I'm going to be looking for a candlestick reversal, a spinning top, a hammer, or even a engulfing candle once it pulls right here and breaks on up to this next level. So yeah, I like it. ONEM, and I'm going to add that to the watch list. Where's my watch list at? Okay. So you see the float here says 126. We looked it up on FinViz. It was 86 million. So yeah, I only use this reference tool here to tell me, okay, I need to look and check the float on FinViz. I never rely on Ameritrade's Thinkorswim share float. Never. It's out of the question. So OPGN is a share float rotation that we had on Friday. I think it was huge. And I'm going to type that in here. OPGN. Had a 15 million float. That's what it says here, but I'm going to look at FinViz. And see how much different they are. 15 million, that's right on. That's unusual. That's very unusual. So let's change this chart around. Had a huge float rotation. Now we talk about that a lot in the room. You know, when you see like 10 times or 20 times float rotation and they pull back, a lot of times you're going to have a stock that's going to move on up. Now, and that's what happened here. Into close Friday. I had to pull back to that support channel right in here that I had already driven up from this top and these two tops. And we kept going on down. We had a downward wedge. So we didn't want to break that trend yet, but once we hit that support level and we got that confirmation, let's see what kind of confirmation we got here. We had the double candle right here telling me that there was a full body candle and that we could have had a chance for another breakout. And once this other 1 minute candle started to break out, it was time to get into the trade. And it could probably come up and pull back a few times, but as long as that held green, that was time to get into the trade. And then the 9 started showing respect over the 34, the 100, and the 200. We pulled back to support level, which was this previous high right here. See that? And I'm going to chalk that in. But we're trying to figure out when you want to get down in a trade and when you want to hold on to a trade. We were all over this on Friday. One of the ladies in the room, Susan, spotted it out. And I kind of mentioned it first thing in the morning. We had a float rotation. She kept her eye on it. She called the reversal on it, and it bounced on up. There was a couple good reversals on it, as you can tell. So we got a resistance level right in here, which was an old previous support level that I was looking for on the pullback. And it never did, kind of held, it kind of pulled back and then finally broke out. But the momentum on this, and we've had these lower highs, which is kind of a descending pattern, but yet I would have drawn a trend line from this spot right here, or maybe in the body of the candle. And as long as we didn't break that trend line, we were still bearish on the trade. But once it broke it, you could have extended on up and took a little more profit into the old support channel. And these are things that I identify. I seen the sign of weakness right in here, but then if you're watching the tape, you can see the buys coming in. There's going to be people stuck in this trade. Had a beautiful run all the way from 227 up to almost a 100% run, and it pulled back 50% by the end of the day. And I use these Fibonacci's. These are automatic Fibonacci's. And a lot of times when I see an engulfing, now I'm going to show you two other things on this chart that would keep me in the trade or tell me to get into the trade. And one of them is this Fibonacci is 50% retracement. Usually on a good breakout, I'm looking at 50% retracement, especially on a low float rotation. This had a volume of 209 million with a float of 15 million. Divide that into 209 million and see what you get. It's pretty big rotation right there. But we pulled back too, and I'm keeping in mind this 200-day moving average. A lot of times when you have this, is second thing I look at. If I don't look at the 50% pullback, I'm looking at the 200-day, and a lot of times they'll bounce off this 200-day, or they'll run up with it. But we kept showing lower highs, so the stock, more or less was becoming bearish, but it was becoming a great scalper too. I mean, this you could have scalped just 2 or 3 times in a day. So always keep that in mind. So let's look at the 1 minute one more time, see if I missed anything. I got one line right down here that I want to draw in. Right there. Let's look at the 20-day one more time and see if I missed anything. See this little level right in here where we had that peak? That's a very important support level. So we're going to color that in red line. To me, this stock can pull back to that thing right at $3, $2.97, and hold. And if that holds, we'll have a retracement bounce back up. Now I think this had COVID news. Yeah. Shares trading higher. The company announced they have 10-minute COVID-19 test kit. As we know, some of these, and it has been authorized by the FDA, which gave it a real, test. That's going to be in this new stimulus bill, I think, is we're going to be setting up tent centers to test for COVID-19. And we want to get the most accurate test out of there. So this is very important that this stock goes ahead and breaks on out. And we're going to call that support level right here at 298. And we're going to pull up the 20 up the daily 1 minute now. So we would like to see this support level hold. If not, it's going to pull back to this lower support of 269. Why? I'll show you. I'll color it in red. Oh, the streamer got lost. It here. Please check your internet connection. Can everybody still see me? Yeah. Low support down here where we had this low support at 268. The first one's going to be right here that I'd like to see hold at 298. But keep in mind, this 268 is important because we had that little breakout here and we had kind of that little pullback here. So 268 to 273 is going to be your third support to hold. And I like to see this, and it's going to have people stuck in the trade, so they're going to be trading it on Monday. If it pulls back to this area right in here, this channel of support, that could be your pretty strong buy between 244 and 268. And I'm going to color that in. I'm excellent at playing these pullbacks. I mean, I can sit, and I got people that'll vouch for that. 244 to 268 is going to be your low channel of support. The next one's going to be right here at 290 to 298. And then resistance to break is going to be that 317, 316 on up back to this channel of resistance at 350 and 360. So that's the way I would play this stock. I would see if it wants to pull back, means we did have lower highs. It can pull back to this area right in here and then start to retrace up, and every one of these numbers now become resistance levels for the trade. And to break that resistance level, you got to break 298 if it pulls back below that. And if it decides to break on out, your resistance level of 350 to 362 is going to be solid. And if it breaks past that, then you got these other trend lines you can be using on the 1 minute at 374, 391. See where these highs are? That's where I'm drawing my trend lines, my extended trend lines. See where it's consolidated in here? That's where I want to draw an extended trend line. And I'm not using the wicks. I'm using the bases, the bodies of the candles. That's OPGN. Keep it on watch. Next one, UPS. We talked about that one. Can you share thoughts on LCA? Yes. LCA. It's a holdings company. Space ETF works. So they might have a little bit of space in their wallet. Sporting events. Gaming industry. I don't know. Not too excited about it. We'll look at the yearly chart and see if I see anything different. Okay, we got a downward wedge. Got a downward wedge, which is bearish. But we could see resistance levels on these trend lines, okay? Now these trend lines will extend on out, and they'll go lower and lower. Now in this area, excuse me. Okay, now I'm going to try to find little resistance levels on this stock right now. On the yearly, we had a huge breakout on it, so something happened back in here. It could have been a split, or it could have been let me see what date this was. This was on 6/29. Pharmaceutical series slide. Cody to acquire 20. Oh, is this Kim Kardashian? So they got Cody stock, I bet. Decrease after deal announcement. Yeah, Leukemia on track for record present increase in day. Record increase based on value. Oh, we'll acquire Golden Nugget online gaming. So yeah, this is a gambling stock. So we got to think of how we're going to be in the now on this. Right now, it's not looking good, but coronaviruses last week came down. It could be bad testing or, something like that, but that's why we had this little rebound on Friday, because the cases were coming down. And I see a little area of resistance right in here at 13, 16, 18. To me, I would scalp it, and if I got down to this lower trend line, I would buy it for a hold. And that's going to be right around 1140. We've got another one right here at 1213. See where the bases of these candles are. And we got a little resistance level right here at 1364. It runs right into that. And we're going to use the wick of this. See how it kind of runs into these right in here. So these are going to be our little resistance levels. Let's bring it to the 20-day. Now I look at it as a trade that's a little risky, but I also look at it as a scalper, and I also look at it if it touches down to this trend line that I've drawn from that wedge at 11 bucks would be a strong buy. Or this level right in here, which would make it a double bottom. And then you would use this line as resistance. So we're going to draw that trend line right here at 1140 is going to be a very strong buy. In case we have a weak day, it pulls on back to 11 bucks. This is LCA. If it does pull back to this area, we're going to use these new resistance. There's another support right here at 1174. I'm seeing this right in here. And then I'm going to look for resistance level that we had on Friday, and that's right here at 1272. Although the wick was higher, I'm using the body of the candles. That's so important to understand, that becomes a resistance area or a support area or a place to break out or a place to pull back to. We got another thing that I want to draw in here. I've been really using a lot of these trend lines here lately, and it's really improved my trading. And I guess it's different in different eyes. We all look at things differently. It's kind of like a fingerprint. None of us trade the same, but we try to correlate how we trade, and you can tell that by in the charts when you're hitting channels. We had lower highs. We have another ascending triangle. See that? See what I'm saying? Another ascending triangle breakout right there. Lower highs with a steady level of horizontal line, and then finally she broke out on Friday because the cases were dropping. Pulled back. Look at this. Pulled right back to that horizontal line. So if you were in the trade up here and you didn't know if you wanted to get out or not, and it pulled on back before you like went to go make a sandwich, and here you are back at this horizontal line again, you can relieve yourself and say, hey, maybe we'll rebounce off that horizontal line. Ascending triangles and horizontal line is very important to find a support level. This is on a downward trend with an ascending triangle and a breakout. So this is going to double top. I'm looking at it like this, unless the idiots come in here, skinny man comes in here and tries to pull it back a little bit. You can bounce off this trend line, or you can bounce off these other two support levels. Got me? But if she starts to move up, and then you have a chance for a double top breakout, your resistance to break is going to be this level we had right in here at 1290. Whoops. Magnify it. Put my dollar sign back on here. What did I say? 1290. Yeah, right in here. And then another one right in here. So you have two choices. You either pull back to these other arms, and I want to extend this out. Pull back to this support, or it can pull back to the bottom of the ascending triangle, or it can pull back to this lower wedge down here at 11 bucks for a strong buy. But I like to see it hold at 11.40 if the skinny people come jumping in here, and resistance to break at 1272 on up to these other resistance channels for a long at 1365. And if it breaks that, and you know what I mean by that wedge that I talked about earlier, and we'll pull that up on a yearly. So there's different scenarios going on here. We've definitely got a pocket pivot working where I think we can go ahead and break out to this resistance level at 1364, and if we get there, we can move on higher. And that's going to be LCA. I like it. I like it. I'm going to keep it on watch, and I'm going to draw it on my chart, my watch list right now. Thanks for pointing that one out to me. Okay, let's see what we got going on now. 13 people in here. We should have more. That's okay. We even got a hater down here that didn't like it. Shame on him or her. Probably someone's jealous that we kicked out of the room or something. The next one we're going to look at is UPS, LCA, THMO. I'm going to clear this chart so I can see it a little bit better. This is a yearly chart. I'm going to look at the news. Thermogenesis Holdings announced financial results of second quarter earnings. Okay, it's not telling me much. Mention webcast, Thermogenesis. Okay. One more thing here. As you watch me, this is just kind of a process sometimes I go through when I'm looking at, I like to look at the news. Okay, kind of got an idea of what I want to look at now. We got a yearly pivot point, which is right about in here at 579. I'm going to draw that in there. From this right in here is where I'm going to call the pivot point on this chart. We did break down below support level, and that was right in here at 429, and another one right here at 514, and another one right in here Let's look at this one more time. The resistance up here at 5,650. We'll raise it up just a little bit more. 661. And there. I'll go to the 20-day. Resistance, double top resistance right here, and along 775, and right there off that wick at 667. So we've got another ascending triangle right here. We had the lower highs. As long as you keep getting, you're swinging a trade, and it keeps pulling back to that lower channel, you're still good. You're still good. And the ascending, I'm going to say the wedge, probably right around here at 572 was the breakout spot. I want to extend that on out to the right. Actually, I want to do it a different way because I like for it to be straight. Another ascending triangle right here, and I'm going to extend this on out. It's going to create a support level for pullback. So our first support is going to be this 572 area, 579. It's going to be our strong support, stay in the trade. Low support is going to be the bottom of this here extended triangle that's going on up. And that'll keep extending on out the days we go on. Eventually they'll end up crossing if we break this double top area right here at 621. So that becomes very serious. And then your next support resistance level is going to be this 559, 567, and a solid support down here at 572. Now if that 572 starts to fail, you're in the trade and you like the trade. I like this low support that we had down here at 514. So I'm definitely going to draw that in for a low support. Because we tried to break it 3 different times up here and we just couldn't do it. Triple top failed. Took 5 days to recover, and then you had the big breakout. Same thing could happen here. We could pull back to this support level at 514 and break on up and break this resistance level of 621. But for right now, you have to consider this 572 a solid support. Then when you get down below in this lower area, that would probably, if you're not in the trade and you had a little patience and it pulled back to 514, that's where you want to start to load up and then just kind of check to see if it keeps going up and add more on the way up. Hard resistance at 750, low support at 514. And that is going to be THMO. And I'm going to add it to my watch list also. THMO. Yeah, I'll go over UPS again here. That's right, Gio. You already talked about UPS. I'll get on her. And THMO is a very low float. That's good to know. Let's look at the float size on it real fast. See, that puts you in a whole different category. And to me, a low float stock, and one with respect, is 25 million. And a lot of these people that trade these stocks, these low floats, love the 1.5 million or less. But if you get up under 5 million, it's still considered a low float for the low float pumpers out there that's all they do is they play low floats. They're in and they're out. So if you follow any of these guys, just always remember they're in there, they get in the trade, and once it pops, A lot of cases they get out because they put a lot of money in on these low float stocks. 3.38 million is a low float. I would consider a very interesting stock for the low floaters that are going to play it. There's all kinds of different brands of traders out there. You know, some trade the first couple hours of the day and they're gone. Some trade power hour. Some trade after hours. Some trade low floats only. You know, just all kinds of different kind of traders out there right now. So, THMO, we got to keep it on watch Monday. And I'll get with UPS here in a second. We'll do it at the end. I'll jot it down. So next one, can you look at, which one you want me to look at, Daniel? CERC or EVFM? I'll give you one choice. CERC, excuse me. Let's look at CERC. Look at the yearly. These are 2019 trend lines right here, so we're going to erase them all. We've got definitely a pattern of continuation. And we've got a little wedge going on. So that's the first thing I spot on this chart. I want to look at the news. Second quarter down, sales. Ooh, I don't like the sales. I don't like the sales. They're a little hesitant because they're just looking at the sales. They're not good. Let's look at the float size on it. Whoop. Wrong one. $28 million float. We're going to draw a trend line on the bottom up here. So we're starting to squeeze. You know, we had the lower highs and the higher lows. Earnings weren't too hot. We're going to extend these onto the right. I'm going to find a bottom support right down here, I think, in this area right in here. We've had all these line up here. I'm going to put it right there. The next one's going to be right here. See this consolidated area right in here? We got the next ones right there, and I'm looking over here at this candle. See, I'm lining up these places of resistance levels. Got a double top right in here. We'll go to the higher wick, and we'll go up here. And we got a strong channel support right in here. So I'm going to color that in. It's because it congested more down in here than it has anywhere else. Bam. Let's look at the 20-day now. Got a support line right here. Right there, with the pivot point right in here. See how we had these candles right in here? That's going to be like a pivot point. So I'm going to see the stock pull back to this area because we're declining, or unless it breaks out, hits this trend line and pulls on back. But you see how she's held up to 200. So somewhere in this area is going to be your support area. It's going to be the pivot point of this support channel of 260 to 274 with a real strong buy maybe at 268 if it holds. And the resistance to break is going to be this trend line, and that's going to, right now as of 303, that's what it'll change as the day goes on and become lower. And we're starting to squeeze, starting to tight up. So I'm thinking around, we'll know something Monday or Wednesday where this stock's going to be heading. If it pulls back to this lower support channel, it could be a strong buy at 264 right now, but I have a trend line at 260. That's the pivot point in the support channel. We get down to that 260 and break resistance of 274. We can get back up and hit this trend line right here at a little above $3 or around $3. And that's CERC. I'm going to add it to watch because I want to see if I'm right about it come Monday. And next, let me just take a look at BGI. Yeah, let me look at XELA. Always share with your friends that I do this every other week or every week on Saturday. I had someone last week tell me that they got on here for the first time when I did my last one and joined the room, because I'm passionate of trying to help people, and this is all I think about is stocks. I used to be a musician and travel around and play music, and then I used to like to fish when I was younger, and I like to paint, and right now my passion is stocks. And what is this? Fuck, I forgot what I was looking at. XELA. I'm liking this one. Let me look at the yearly. Yeah, I'm liking this one here. Let me look at the news. Shares of several technology companies are trading during the coronavirus. Signature platform of dry sign. Second quarter results. MasterCard request play solution. Technology 12-point investment records. Storage business. Yeah, this is pretty nice. Capital expenditures first quarter 1.3 revenue compared to 1.8. They cut back on that. That's good. Everybody had to adjust to Corona. Total net debt is one. Ooh. I don't like the net debt. Second quarter loss of 12 million. Yeah. So I'm 50-50 on it right now. Let's go ahead and draw a trend line. This is another wedge, another upward wedge from the bottom at 8.6. This is a 62-cent play. So I got to keep that in mind. I'm going to check the float size on it. I keep doing that. XELA. $60 million float. We'll draw a couple trend lines on it. We're going to start off with this one right here. Magnify this up a little bit. I'm drawing little trend lines. I drawed it off this right here. I'm drawing it off these two candles right in here that kind of line up with each other. But I want to hit the close on Friday there. 62. We got a resistance level up here at 75.57 and right there and then right in here. pull back support right down here where they consolidated at this level, and then bam. We'll look at the 20-day. See if I missed anything. I missed a little line right in here. Support right here. Now let's look at the daily 1 minute. A resistance level right in here. Bam. Support, and then a little support down here. Okay, I'm 50-50 on this one. I think it can pull back to this area of 57.76 for your first support level. And then that second bottom support channel is going to be right down here at 55.16. I want to see that hold. A strong buy down here at 53.09. Okay, I see it pulling back. We've had higher lows. Kind of a descending pattern. So your first support's going to be 57.84. The second one's going to be right down here at 55.16. And then the third one at 53.09 for retracement back up to these resistance levels. And that resistant level that needs to break is going to be this 60.22. That's XELA. I'm 50-50 on it. I want to see it pull back and play a retracement bounce. Please take a look at BGI. Yes, BGI is next. Another low volume trade here. Let's look at the news. NASA turns negative on Bed Bath & Beyond. Burks narrows their net loss. That's good news. Sales were 169 million. That's good news. Well, that was real good news. Had a nice growth rate. That's what you want to see in this time of the Cronus. I mean, that's real good. So we like the earnings. Okay, let's go to a yearly. We're coming up from a TTM squeeze on a year. Look what happened last time we did it. Bam. What happened last time we did it? Bam. Look what happened last time we did it. Bam. Moved up a little bit. So we're reversing on a TTM on a yearly daily. I'm going to try to find a low support at 74, and then another one right in here. I like this spot right here real well, 88. So let's go to day 20 day 1 hour. I got a resistance level I need to break at 107. And I'm trying to draw these. The solid support right down here on a 20 days at 88 cents. We can pull back to 83. It depends on the mood of the market. It has very low volume, so it's one that doesn't get played much, but we are popping out of a TTM right here, which could tell me that we could break a resistance level, and if you break 99, you can bring it up to 107, and maybe up to this next level of 114 to 120, and then long 127. So pull back at 88 cents could be a buy. 83 is going to be a test to hold support, and if it starts to retrace back up, you'll use these lines for resistance levels. The resistance level we need to break Monday is 99 cents. If it fails that 99, we could see it pull back to the 83 and get into the trade and scalp it from 83 to 99. That's a channel, a 20-day channel of support right in here. Okay, so it'll be a small scalp from 88 to 99 for sure. If it breaks that and goes to 107, it's a gift. And if it decides to break past that, anything up in here is definitely territory to take profit. And I like it. BGI, it's a low volume, but it is popping out of a TTM, and you could have a small scalp. And I'll add it to my watch list, BGI. And now we got a little bit more time left. We'll see what else we can look at here. I'll take a look at COCP. If I already did that one or not. Nope. COCP, here's one that I've been watching for many years. Right. You had the 2020 here, 2018 here, and 2019 up here. So we're going to look at the yearly chart real fast, then I'll erase all this muck. Right now it's hard to understand, but I got 3 different years of trend lines on here, and we're going to erase it all. Nice upward hill climb. Had a nice breakout last week. Pulled back to support. I like this chart. I'm going to look at the float. COC. Whoop. That's my options thing. I have 3 different platforms that I trade off of. Use stock trade for scalping. Tastyworks for options, and then I use a toss for scalping and swinging. What was I looking at? COCP. It's good to have more than one platform to trade off of. In case you're having trouble with one, you can always jump in the other. When I first started, I was trading with Scottrade and Ameritrade, and I was trading penny stocks, and sometimes Scottrade wouldn't have all the penny stocks that I wanted to trade, nor did Ameritrade. So I was able to go back and forth and trade it off each platform, and that made a big difference from being stuck into just one trading platform and say, God darn it, slamming your fist on the table and say, I can't trade it, and you're watching it run. And so I don't know if Ameritrade still has the restrictions that they did since Scottrade has united with them. The float on this is 32 million, so it's a respectable float. And we're going to look at the chart. I'm going to look for a yearly pivot point. And it's kind of hard to really identify in here. It's really kind of hard there. I'd say it's probably right down in this area right in here. Right there at 118. So that's kind of your yearly pivot point. We've had a nice little run. And she pulled back here and then ran on up and hit these new resistance levels. So we got one right here that I want to chalk in. I'm looking at this pullback here on a yearly, and we'll see how it runs into everything. We got it runs right in here and kind of makes up its mind, and then we had the breakout here where she pulled back a couple of times. So that's pretty solid support right in there at that 168 level. The next one, I like charting this one up because it's really diversified. And I got it this from this wedge right in here, the ascending triangle. Then I noticed that we've kind of touched and she gave up right in here. So I'm kind of liking that area. The next one I'm liking is right in here. I'm looking over here. I'm trying to line up bodies of candlesticks, as you see right in here. I'm going to go one more aisle up of support, and I'm using the wick of this candle. And I'm going to go in there and make me some coffee here in a second. Right there, and then I got another one right here. I'm looking at the top here where it failed the top and just gave up. So something real nasty happened back. That was a pretty nasty sell-off right there. So it is volatile. A trade that you want to get in and swing it for a couple of days or scalp it. That's COCP. I would be scalping it myself. And then we got a little resistance level right here, and then we have the final resistance right here at the 240. Now if we break the 240, we can bring it up to 270. But you know, we're going to see how this thing trades on. We're going to look at the 20-day now. See if I missed anything. I missed some little spot right in here. I'm using the bodies of the candles. Solid resistance level right in here. See where we had that top? She failed. So we're going to turn that into a red line. That way I know that there's a reason why I got that on here on my extended trend lines. We pulled back to the 200 a couple times and bounced off of it. Failed it here. Resistance level at 257. And a solid support right down here at 195 to hold. So we'll put a red line here. That's not what I wanted to see. Got two red lines here. Right there. And then a strong buy right down in here at the 184 area. Okay, this is kind of how I'm seeing it. Let me look at the daily 1 minute, see if I missed anything here. Okay, resistance to break is 230. 230 to 232 is going to be the resistance to break. The place to maybe take the trade is going to be between the 168 and the 186. Now if this 194 holds, we can retrace back up and try to break that resistance level right here between 220 and 230. You see where I'm talking about with the 220 right here. See where we just couldn't break that? But if we break that 220, we'll go up to 230 and regain some of this other highs that we had up here. Strong buy no lower than 168. That's going to be your strong buy with a support buy at 186. And that's COCP. I like it. I like it. I just got to get in here and look at it and let it kind of tell me which direction it's going in, and I'll have it on watch come Monday. Added to the watch. Okay, thoughts on timber, TMBR. Let me go I'll be right back. I want to get me some coffee. Grab you a comfortable chair when you're sitting down all day too. That makes a big difference. I've gone through 4 chairs now in 16 years. So let's look at TMBR. This comes from Michael. Or Michelle, excuse me. Michael. Am I right? Oh, God, Jim, you're sick. Okay, timber. Pharmaceuticals. Let's see if it's got any COVID news. We got a patent. European patent. What's this here? Notice of... Gets European patent notice. Emerging, closing, pharmaceuticals. Okay. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. Let's look at the yearly. Mike is easy enough. Thank you, Mike. Hope you're not mad at me. Okay, we got a little resistance to break at 308. We're definitely below that area of pivot point channel. And we've got some support levels here. I want to pull up a 3-year and just see if a 3-year tells me something. Oh, I need 3-year. Yeah, it's way oversold. See these highs we've had back in here? This probably had a split or something. Let's go to the yearly again. Magnify these areas up to try to find some supports. We had a pullback here and a top right in here, so that's a pretty good spot. And we've had one right down here, double top. And then we've had this lower support level right here, 209. And then we're going to get this 175 in here. We're going to go to the 20-day, 1 hour. We're dividing this up. We went to the yearly, daily. Now we're going to the hour, 20-day, and I'm looking for other areas of consolidation and support levels right in here, and we had that right in here, that top. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look in this area, and I see this candle right here. I love this spot right in here. Whoop. There you go. With a resistance level right here, I'm seeing this spot in here. I'm not going to count that gap. And then I'm going to go get my coffee. Kind of light volume on this one here, but she did break out after hours. Had to pull back to this one. Ooh, I like it. 183. And 187. Pull up 20-day one more time. Spot right in here. Oh, I missed that. I don't know how I missed that. It's always good to go back and check, because you can't see everything. Nobody can see everything. I'm seeing more now, coming back and looking at it again. We have had lower highs. We are in a descending pattern, so it could fail. This low support of 175, I would consider that maybe a retracement of a double bottom at the 175 area. But we could be poisoned for another breakout too, because we're squeezing. Monday will give you an idea which direction this trade's going to go. It's either going to go down or it's going to break resistance level, and that resistance level is going to be right here at 196. Now if this thing moves up, I wouldn't jump in the trade probably until it broke that 196, and you could take it to 210 to this double top, and then you might have some rejection at the double top area. Okay, so let me go through this one more time. 195 if it decides to pull back, 175 for double bottom, that's got to hold. And if it does pull back to that area, your resistance level to break is going to be this 196. Either way, if it goes up or down, The resistance level you need to break is 196 to the double top of 210, and you're going to have some rejection at the 210 level. You can pull back to the 195 again, or it can just go ahead and say heck with it. It got some news, and it's going to break the double top and bring you into this whole new different channel right up in here, which anything past the 226 area, or even past the 220, shows a little bit of resistance level from right in here, this descending pattern. So yeah, I'm semi bullish on it. We do have a decline, but it's squeezing right now. It's going to make up its mind if it either wants to go up or pull back to this 175. But the resistance that we want to break it is going to be right here at 209. And that's going to be TMBR. So I'm going to add that to my watch. I'm going to watch all these next week, see what happens, and see how close I was. TMBR. Right now, I should be done with this, but I'm going to go ahead and continue on. And then we're going to look at EVFM. I'm going to go get my coffee, and I'll be right back. Okay, got my coffee. I'm drinking Mexican right now. Organic Mexican coffee. I have Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee, and I like some Ultra. And I got some Hawaiian in there too. I lived in Hawaii for almost a year. Okay, let's look at next, EVFM. We're looking for patterns. We're looking for places of consolidation when we're drawing up these trend lines. Patterns of breakout. We're looking at candles. You know, I've really started catching these breakout on these candlesticks. I've really improved my trading. So if you really want to enhance your scalping skills, start studying candlestick patterns. It only takes 2 or 3 of them on a 1 minute daily to know which way the trade is going to go. It makes a ton of difference. So right here I got a 295 pivot point. Oh, let's look at the yearly first. Let's erase this. Seems like it's having pretty decent volume here lately. We are at a bottom. We got a low support down here at 276. And I got a resistance to break here at 319. And I got a pivot point in this little channel in here right at 301. Got a long at 334, and then we got to go ahead and see how it failed. We had a dip down here before, and she had a nice run, pulled back. Oh God, I should have got rid of all these lines. This goes back to 2018. These gold lines right here. So I played this back when this run went on. We're back in 2018. Let's look at that. Yeah, I'm just going to erase all these over again. Start fresh. Even on a 3-year chart, we're down here at 179. But I'm glad I did pull this up. And we're gonna just have a test here. See what it looks like on a yearly. That was a 3-year, 1 week. And when we had the crash during the corona, I was going back 15 years to find support. 15 years. Where the hell are you? So we got that little place right in here. Just 273. So we went down below that 3-year watermark. And I'm going to find a pivot point in this channel. That's at 302. So let's pull up the 20-day and see if I missed anything, which I always do. So you got to fine tune these babies. Kind of like a fiddle. I've talked about that before. You got the tunes up on top, and then you got the little tuners down at the bottom of the strings. And you're fine tuning. And we're going to bring it. A lot of things in life relate to trading stocks. A lot of your life experiences fall back on you when you're trading in stocks. Okay. So we closed at 293. I want to look at the news real fast. 36 million, 38, and 42 to 44. So, you know, cash burn. Gap EPS 91 cents. Second quarter loss, that don't sound too good. Okay. That don't sound too good. EVFM, I'm going to say support level. I'm going to look at the 20-day one more time. Right there. Strong buy, maybe support level at 281. With a resistance to break at 295. You'll have some hard resistance at 295. See how I'm drawing this up? Looking for a place that's a pivot point on the 20-day, and that pivot point channel is right in here between 295 and 302. So what we do is if we break the 295 area, we'll go to 302, and we'll start getting up into this new channel of resistance areas. If not, it decides to pull back, I'm thinking a strong buy between 277 and 281. 91 cents, I mean the earnings were bad, okay? You can see it in the stock. So it might take another week to consolidate downward. And look down here at the 270 area. I would consider that a healthy place to maybe consider taking the trade. That's just my opinion, but I'm not happy with the earnings. And I still think it has a few more days to consolidate on a downward track. Maybe right around the 270 is a place that you might want to get into the trade and see what happens from there. But if it holds support here at the 281 area, you can get a retracement bounce and be a small little scalp to 302. That's the way I feel about EVFM, and I'm definitely going to put it on watch. See if I'm right. Tesla is a good one to talk about. Let's look at Tesla. I'm bullish on Tesla this week. If you got on trade on Friday, you're going to do good. We've had a downward, and we started to level out right here at 1510. So I'm going to definitely put that trend line in here. And I really like Tesla. I've been following Tesla from 50 bucks. And there's so many bears at 250 on it. They don't understand what the power of a Tesla is. It's not a car company. It's a tech company. It's a technological company that supplies batteries, car chips. Can you imagine having a car that gets tuned up from outer space, from a satellite? That's how they tune these cars up. I mean, it's a tech company, it's a space company, it's a car company, it's a solar company. There's just another Benjamin Franklin we have here. Tesla in 10 years will be a $2,000 or $3,000 stock. I have no doubts. Right now, we're going to try to find a solid support on it. Right now is in the area where you want to scalp it. You don't want to swing Tesla. You want to buy on the dip, and you can make good money on a scalp. And on Tesla, when I'm trading the options, I'm looking at four different price levels, and we'll just pull them up here on next week. I'm looking at different price levels to get in on the scalp. And let's not look at next week. Let's look at the 14th. And these prices will probably drop a little bit. But when I'm buying, I'm looking for volume. And when the most of the volume is keeping, that's where I like to scalp it. I've been scalping the 1600 and the 1800. Even down here at the 1700 and the 1800. Those are the three areas that I scalp this trade on. And when you get down here, they all move. They all move. But this 1700 was real hot on Friday. And that's the one I would have probably took. And I did take it. I have to look back and see where I took. But those even numbers at 15, the 16, the 17, and the 1800 are usually popular. You get into 1650. It's also good, but definitely they were scalping the 1700 on Friday. And you like the 1800? I've done that one too. The 1800's still got some popularity, and what we're going to do now, we're going to retrace back up. So let's go ahead and look at the stock. I'm glad you brought up Tesla. Good job. So I think lower support needs to hold here at 1404. That'll create a double bottom if it does pull back. The resistance to break is going to be this 1510. So if we start to retrace back up and see that 1510, I'm going to try to find another little $14.73 looks good. See where we pulled back to $14.73? That's going to be a good resistance to break. Double bottom here, see that on the week? Right there at $14.25. A gentleman in the room, him and I trade this on a daily basis, or when I'm in the mood. And he called it down here at $14.19. And I couldn't believe he did it. I mean, I had a low support at 1404, but then I got to looking at this double bottom, and I see where he's talking about. That pulled back to that double bottom, and look where these candles ended up. They candled right at that double bottom. That's why I always say the base of the candle is stronger than the wick. People are making up their mind getting out of the trade on the wick. The body is where all the action is. That's where all the people are buying and selling. That's where the most of the volume is. Last minute weakness, people are getting out, or the people that I can identify a retracement are getting in. But most of them will get in on that base of that body of that next candle. The bodies of the candle mean everything. But we had a double bottom, and you can see the body of the candle right here and the body of the candle right here. The wick didn't mean crap. This candle, all this tells you right here, this is a bullish candle on an hour. That's a bullish candle. This thing right here, You got the wick down here and you got the body of it above it. That's a sign that this stock's getting ready to break. And the time to get into the trade is when that next candle comes in here. Me, I look at a different time frame, so I kind of know when to get in it on a daily 1 minute. A lot of people say they want to use an hour or a half hour to get into a trade. By the time they do that, it's way too late. If you know how to identify the daily 1 minutes, you can get in them trades a lot sooner. And we'll show you what happened on Friday. We had that double bottom at 14.25, okay? This was the identity right here is when this green candle came in, and then they started building, the body started building above that green candle. And then the weakness came when this candle came in. Now, let me see if I can spot that. When this candle came in and started breaking down below the body of these two candles right here, that's when the weakness started coming in. It's always about the bodies. And look how it ran the rest of the day. It did have a pullback. It found resistance up here around the 200. Broke up past it a couple times and hit that next resistance. So I'm very bullish on Tesla next week. They come out with a new battery, I think, something about a patent on a battery. Plus the Gigafactory in Germany is getting built faster than it anticipated. So they don't have any money problems. They got like, what, so many billion, 5 or 7 billion in the bank. Elon's selling his shares to prop up his space venture. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to break that resistance level up here at 1473. If we can break that resistance at 1473, we'll get up to around 1489. This little channel, you see, is a descending pattern, lower highs. Now always keep this in mind when you're up here at the top and you got a descending triangle, you're going to pull back more and you're going to have little scalps. It's just the way it is. Now we're ascending on up. We've hit that double bottom here at 1425.96, and we're going to be moving on up. Now you come in tomorrow, we might run into this trend line right here at the 1473, which was off. Now, which was off. Let me show you this wedge. We have higher lows and lower highs, and when they met, we had to squeeze, and then we had to sell off on Friday to the double bottom. So I'm pretty sure that this thing's going to break resistance, like I said, at that 1473, and we'll see 1510.80. Now I told one guy in the room that was kind of stuck in the trade, I said, before it got there, I said, look at for 1517 when it was way down here at the bottom. And we popped up pretty much, we almost hit it. I think we did hit that area on this wick right here, and that's when I messaged him. I said it's maybe time to get out, and then it retested and hit that resistance at 1510. So we really got to concentrate on 1510 next week to break on up. Now that's going to be a hard resistance, okay? 1510. And if you see the 1510, write it down on paper. If you break on past that 1510, we'll take it to 1547. But for right now, consider at 1510 a real hard resistance, and consider that 1425 a solid support. And that's going to be on Tesla. You get my drift? Scalping. You're scalping in this area. You're not holding it. You're just scalping. Unless some real good news comes in or earnings start to come up, that's when you want to swing it. You want to buy on the dip and sell at resistance. Now, I hope I'm going to see, okay, I'll look at Apple, and then I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. But I hope I gave you a little bit of leadway on how to find supports, pivot points, and resistances. Please hit that like button. Share these little sessions with your friends that are beginner traders, because a lot of people just jump in on a trade on their own, on someone else's alert, and I lecture it all the time. Don't jump in on my calls. Make sure that they fit your criteria. You got to have 5 criteria before you get into a trade. You need to have a list of them 5 criteria that want to keep you in a trade. Mine, I play on the money flow. I play on the moving averages. I play on news. I play on chart patterns. Technical. I'm a technical trader. I'm not very much into the fundamentals. I don't think they mean that much anymore. I think it's all technical driven, a lot of trades, and that's what's leaving a lot of these fat cats on Wall Street kind of disillusional, because they're fundamental traders and they don't trade on technical. And like I said before, we've pumped so much liquidity into the market that when we haven't even seen what's going to happen, I don't think we're going to go into a depression. I think this stock market is very disconnected with the private sector and with the fundamentals that are going on right now. All it cares about is liquidity, money being pumped into it, and then companies with strong earnings like Apple, like, Tesla's turning around, like Amazon. I'll do Amazon here too. Amazon's a good one to scalp. Not a swing trade, but a scalp. I called it to go to 3,200. That was my swing trade. And it went to 3,200 from 2,000. Now I'm scalping it because I'm at a resistance level. And that's where we are with Tesla. We're at a resistance level. We're in a resistance channel. And we've got to prove the channel here for 20 days. You can see it on the chart. So far, we are descending on that 2 double top high. You see the 2 double top high. You see the long high that we had on earnings back at 1795. It pulled back, and now we've had lower lows. We're getting back to the bottom of that resistance channel. And that's very important to be in the now and to know where you are on these charts. Tesla, I'm very, very passionate about. And you hear it in my voice, and you hear it when I call it out in the room. Now, I want to give kudos to 2 or 3 traders in the room last Friday that spotted the breakout. And Shark Dollar is one of them. I want to give kudos to Longhorn, and I want to give kudos to Rob. But all 3 of them have seen the breakout on Tesla on Friday, or on maybe, I don't know what day it was. Yeah, it was Friday. It was just bottom. Just nice reversal. Maybe been on Thursday. Heck, I don't remember. But so low support 1425, resistance to break at this level right up here at 1473 with a strong target of 1510. And then we're going to look at Amazon. And then I'm going to call it a day. To me, when I touch you and you all touch me, and you give me these little tickers, I'm learning. I'm not a pro and I'm not an expert, and I can only do so much. I trade one trade at a time. It takes one trade a day to make $1,000. I like to average 300 a day. If I make $300 a day, I'm very happy. I'm not here to rob the bank. I'm not here to brag about myself, and I don't brag on others, but I am here to take profit, and if it's up to 300 a day, I'm satisfied. And that averages up. And there's days where I have the good days, or like, what was it, Thursday? I want to show you something on AMD. Yeah, I don't get off on people bragging and boasting in their egos. But this is a pattern that I saw on and I'm looking at Thursday, and this kept a lot of people into the trade until we double topped at the end of the day. And I did it on one simple line. One simple line gave me the supports that I needed for this trade. And I'm going to point them out to you right now. And this is something that you need to keep in. This pattern happens on all breakout stocks that have a continuation. And I'm going down here to the bottom wick, and I'm going to run it up all the way up. And I think I got it off the second candle right here. No, it wasn't this. It was let me get rid of this. It was this area right in here. And I'm going to run this all the way up. I'm going to extend this out to the right. Now, every time it's pulled back to this trend line, it bounced up. Every time. And I got that off the second pullback when they had the hard sell-off. And that was a pretty steep little sell-off. But I always talk about this in the room, and it makes wonders of difference when you're stuck in a trade or you take your eye off of a trade, and it always pulls back to that trend line. We had that high there. We had that there. We had that there. It kind of found respect right here. It happened again right here. Then once it started to fail that trend line, that was the time to exit the trade. And this was on Thursday. Unless you still thought it could continue. But look at the 5-day. I want you to look at the 5-day. Look how we started 5 days ago. Down here at 77 bucks. This is when the fat cats started to short the stock. Okay? Because it was overextended. Sometimes they get caught in the frame of mind that any stock that is overextended is going to pull back. It's true. They do pull back. But maybe they got in at the wrong time. And they got stuck. So they come back in and they try to do it again because it's overextended. But the momentum on this stock was a catalyst because INTC, Intel, is having issues with putting out a chip. So this gave the market makers to think about AMD being a great trade. So then here we are with a double top, and then what do we see? We see a triple top. Okay? Now what have I said about triple tops? They fail. 99% of the time they fail. And they'll pull back. So when you see a triple top, and this chart's telling all kinds of stories. When you see a triple top, try to find that support level. That support level was right in here from that previous engulfing breakout that we had. It was right there. So I'm still bullish on AMD. I got a target for $95 on AMD. But this is just something to think about when you're drawing them trend lines. And this look at where this come from. Let me pull a 20-day. Look where this come from. This is an upward channel. It come from this support right here to right here. The continuation continued. It continued. It fell back and it hit that trend. You see? But then we run into the triple top. That triple top. Now we've got us a little, maybe a fish hook pattern for a retracement back up to this trend line to maybe get back into the resistance channel. Or it can fail and pull back to the 200. Back to this support area in here. And actually I'm going to draw a trend line right here. Now that I see this and I've got this all boogied out. But I'm constantly using these trend lines for resistance and support levels. Resistance level. See? Every chart tells a story. Resistance level, resistance level, resistance level, resistance level, and then finally it formed a triple top. Support level, support level. Failed support right here, but that was pre-market. Vegas and other people in the room, Bass Cat, they don't care what happens in these periods. I kind of do, because I like to see it show respect and consolidate. So I pay attention to after hours and morning, but a lot of traders that trade options, they don't care because it doesn't mean nothing to them when they're in the stock. But here we are again, support level, consolidated, and it broke out. Support level, resistance level, right up here, off the bottom of this trend line once it failed. And once it failed that triple top and it got out of the trend of the upward wedge, this chart alone should tell you a lot. It pulled back. So we got a support right down in this area right in here. I'd like to see hold and bring it back up to there. Now, there's still going to be some bears wanting to bring it back to this lower support of 79.92. Okay? So if it pulls back to the 79.92, I'm all over it. I'm $80. I'll be in this trade, I guarantee it. And then also, when I'm looking at the daily 1 minute, I'm playing it off. I'm using this 200, and I'm using these moving averages, which is telling me if a stock's bearish or bullish. And let's remove this drawing. As you can tell, we were pretty much starting to cross each other right up in here, but once that 9 failed, the pullback, and it never could break above that 200. So I'm using this 200 as a resistance level. I'm constantly, and then I'm using it also to maybe, if it decides to break out like it did here, I'm saying, okay, now we're starting to consolidate, and that 200's become a pivot point into that breakout. That 200 is a pivot point into that breakout. And once it cleared the double top, she decided to move on up. So this was a nice call after the sell-off on Friday, but it's always just something to keep in mind. That pattern on this chart was just magnificent for the all week long if you know how to read charts. So I'm saying chart reading will really improve your trading. But I want to pull up the 20-day and just show you one more time how, and you see this in a bullish trade all the time, and its earnings were bad on Intel, and they're processing that chip. I mean, AMD is 2 years in advance of all chip makers right now. Just like Tesla is years in advance of all electrical cars, all EV cars. So it always will have the top edge. Always. And what this lady's done to this company, we watched it go from, we were on it at under $10, and we watched this sucker run all the way to 30 and pull back to under 20 to 16 with almost a 50% retracement, and I talk about that a lot, and it bounced right up, broke that 32, and then we struggled at 50, and I was calling the pullbacks on it then, and now I'm telling you we're in a new trend and a new channel of support on AMD. So I'm very bullish on AMD right now. Keep a good eye on it. Everybody, it's always on the top of my volume list. Everybody's looking at it. And then I'm going to tell you right now, they're years in advance of any chip maker out there. And this stock will run, I'm thinking, 95, and if we break 100, we're going to settle down at 120. That's how strong I am on AMD. Any pullback is a gift. And if you know how to read these charts and find these supports, I was calling this channel all week. For 2 weeks I called this channel out. And we failed that channel Friday. But I think we're just profit takers, and you had fat cats in here that say we're overextended and we need to consolidate. and find a support channel, and we'll consolidate in this area for another week. Another week. We've already gone through 5 days of consolidation. We had the big gap. So it's just something, ways of, and I've got so many different avenues when it comes to looking at charts, and I'm having case studies run on a weekly basis of new ideas that I want to learn, or maybe I want to fine tune something that I forgot about. So it's always very passionate when it comes to AMD. And the next one we're going to talk about is Apple. Vegas is an amazing tape reader. I mean, with her combination of her fundamentals and her tape reading and my chart patterns and looking for supports and resistances, we are probably one of the best rooms out there. If you're having trouble trading, always try to get a hold of me. I'm on Discord, Washboard Jim, and I'll help you along, if I'm not busy. I don't mind being bothered, because I don't trade a lot of stocks. I trade one at a time, maybe two at the most. I used to trade 5, but that's before the pandemic. And I just found it more, and I don't have, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm kind of, slower than the average guru when it comes to typing, but I've stuck my mind in trying to find supports and pivot points and resistances, and that's where I really, fire up at. So let's look at Apple. We're going to erase Apple. Apple's, I'm very, very hot on too. We had a nice little breakout on it a couple weeks ago. We had a nice breakout on Thursday, and everything pulled back. People took profit. I'll show you something here. One of my watch lists. This is what I call my hedge fund watch list. And a lot of these hedge funds were taking profit. A lot of them. You see all that red? We had a couple good breakouts. BIIB. Now what's BIIB? Ain't that, we want to look and wonder why that thing ran up $28 on Friday. Could be an opportunity right there. It's a healthcare stock. I'm thinking they're switching money out of a lot of techs and they're throwing it in healthcare right now. But here's another beautiful little setup. Friday it took off. I think that's the next sector to be in. I got Facebook up on top. AMD. Apple. Microsoft. And look at Microsoft building a little channel. Intel. Kind of hovering down here at support level. Small scalper trade. DBX. Nice little sell-off there, something to be interested in. And it's always good to have like a watch list of sectors. This one's my hedge fund sector. The most traded hedge funds out there. See, we found support here on Square. VMY, pullback, coming to support level. Actually, support's a little bit lower. These are 2019 trend lines. Pull up the year. Let's look at this. Look at that. I was on this sucker when it was down here at the bottom. And I was calling this out, 20,000, 18,000. That's how low we're going to go. 15,000 for the worst scenario. The worst scenario. But I was in it on 18,000, 20,000. I said, it's time. It's time to get in these trades. And look. We've had nothing but NVIDIA. Another one. Look at that. Way beyond resistance levels. Another hot one. Got to keep NVIDIA on watch. This sucker can run up a lot higher. I want to see 500 on NVIDIA. AMAT. And all these are volume high leaders. Look at that trend line all the way up through there. So I'm drawing trend line, you know. Now we've kind of broke below that trend. We've had a top. It's kind of going to consolidate. Still higher lows. So we got a resistance we got to break on this one here, AMAT, at 65.10. You know, I got PayPal. Look at PayPal. Online service. Corona plays. PayPal. More people are using PayPal now than ever. I use it. Vegas and I use it. We use it. Here's a big sell-off on DT. What happened here? You know, I want to read the news. I'm going through a watch list. I'm trying to figure out good plays and not good plays. Check this out. I called out Goldman Sachs on a pullback. Goldman Sachs is my favorite bank. When this sucker was down here under $100, I said it was a buy. We had a triple bottom. 1, 2, 3. Identified the pattern right here on this day that we're getting ready to break out. And look, we're up here at 207. I got in this trade. This was probably one of my worst trades of the year. None of us are perfect. Let me pull up none of us are perfect. I thought I was really getting in good up here. So I got in this thing at 215. I said, we're going to go up here. We're going to break a double top. Sucked, man. It sucked. For a whole week, it just went down. And I lost, you know, $500 or $600. I finally gave up. And I said, when this thing gets below $200, it's going to be a buy. And then we formed a triple bottom in this area right in here. And that was the time to get into the trade. We retested 3 different times. Uno, dos, tres. 3 different times. That was the time to get into the trade, and I was calling it out. It's time. And then we ran up, and now we're going to get up to these new resistance levels. Banks were hot on Friday. I got that from Josie in the room. She liked banks. And so I went straight to Goldman Sachs. I don't care for Wells Fargo. To me, that's a bad bank, and I won't trade it. I just won't trade it because I think it sucks. But I do like Goldman Sachs. I like J.P. Morgan, and I like Citi, and Bank of America. Buffett bought a bunch of Bank of America again, so he's counting on the thing to go up to 35 on a long trade, long swing. But the triple bottom on Goldman Sachs was the idea to get in. And we just keep going down the line. So it's always good to have your little watch list. And if you want to take a snapshot of this one right now, you go right ahead. I'll give you a few seconds to take a snap of it, snip it, and add it to create your own watch list. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about Apple. But you understand about chart patterns. Now what you want to do, if you all took a snippet of this watch list, a lot of these stocks that are red now will be green Monday. Mark my words. You'd write down these 10 stocks right here with high volume. Even put Netflix in there. Look at Netflix was down $14.35. Daku's a hot one. Daku, look at this sucker. This is probably I called this out last year. I said this was going to be my trade of the year, and I didn't play it. I felt like an idiot. I called this out last year, back in October. And look at this. I mean, it's pathetic. that I didn't take this trade and hold long on it. And I got this from StockTwits, Howard Lindsay. He was bullish on this trade. So when you ever see him point out a stock and he's bullish and he's in it long, you might want to jot down them numbers and take a watch on it. This man's smart. But look at that. I mean, we hit that 200 and we just been nothing but smooth sailing all the way up. We're consolidating now. So, you know, this is in scalping territory. Nike is another one. Anytime that thing was under $100, that was a strong buy for a scalp. Look at this, down here at $60. Now, this has happened twice since I've traded stocks. It happened during the crash of the recession, of the financial recession, and it happened during the corona. And let me tell you something, the crash of the financial sector was a lot worse than this corona deal. This corona deal was short-lived. The financial crisis, it lasted for years to rebound. The economy is in great shape. And if I was a youngster right now, I mean, it took 2 or 3 years for it to finally get up and get to going. Right down in here. This little crash right here, it was a lot bigger back then. If you look at the Dow, I ain't the Dow Jones. Let's look at the SPY. This crash was a lot longer, and it took a long time for it to get back up to the top area. I mean, from 2007, and I called this crash 2006, because I knew what the government, and I knew that what they were going to do, and they were going to talk trash against Wall Street. We had all the Wall Street protests going on like we do today. And all it hurts is the people out protesting. It doesn't, and it helps us people that are trading stocks, because people react to emotions. It brought this thing down, and it took, what, 4 or 5 years to rebound to get back to the top. Look at here. I mean, it just took 4 months to get back to the top. That's a big difference. This wasn't a crash because we had a bad economy. This was a crash because it was something against an invisible enemy. And right now, opportunities are open to everybody that wants to get in and learn how to trade or learn how to run their own gig business. So let's look at Apple, and we're going to call it a day. And I can't believe I've gone on this long. Look at this. We're looking at 15. Let's go ahead, and that's a month candles. So we're going to look at the year. Had a nice little run on the year. Support level is going to be right down here at 396. That's low possibility. Low scenario. And then when this stock was up in this area, right around 350, fat cats were trying to short it. I mean, up in this area, they were saying it was going to go down to 340 something, or it was way overextended. They had targets right around this top area right in here. It didn't happen. It didn't happen because they weren't thinking of Corona. Apple is a wonderful company. They have plenty of cash, and they're market makers. So we're going to draw a support level right here at this level. Triple top. Uno, dos, tres, bam. A lot of time in triple tops fail. I'd say probably 95% of the time. Let's So I'm just drawing places in here where I think we can have fun at. It's like a canvas, you know. I like this huge run that it had right in here. Why? Look at them earnings. Earnings were down this time, but not much. They had a lot of phone sales. They thought phone sales were going to be bad, and actually they were up. Why? Because of Corona. People are talking more on the phone. They can't go visit their friends. Plus they can learn and they trade stocks on a phone. So I found some resistance levels in here. I got a solid support right there at 443. Let's look up the daily. And resistance right here. Support's pretty solid there. Got another resistance level right here. And I'm looking over in this channel. See that high right there? We're going to draw a line right in there. And we're going to draw another one right here. And another one right here. So we got, let's look at the 20-day one more time, see if I can identify anything. Yeah, I want to see this channel hold right in here, so let's mark this up. We got a ascending triangle. See? Higher lows. Then the ascending triangle starts right here, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to put that right in here. We're going to extend this line out. Now this is a new technique that I'm learning. It's not 100% yet, but I'm telling you the accuracy is just smack on. The ascending triangle right here, and we had the breakout. You noticed it pulled right back to the top of that ascending triangle. I repeated this over and over again. Let's magnify this baby up and show you. I didn't look at this. I just looked at the triangle, okay? And I extend that on out. Now look what happened. Pulled right into that channel. Off that horizontal line on that ascending triangle. Now the person that put that little negative finger down in here, he's not learning a damn thing. Because he didn't have patience, and he probably can't even read charts, or her, or whoever. But I'm telling you, that horizontal line right there on that ascending triangle becomes a real solid support, and we bounced right to it. And I'm going to extend these lines out, and that support line, its bottom of this line, is going to keep raising that support up. And then this is going to keep going sideways. So when that keeps going sideways, that's going to be a strong buy. And then when this line comes up next week above that horizontal line, that's going to become a new support, or if it fails it, it'll become a new resistance level. So let's go back to the 20-day and identify and call this trade out. We know that horizontal line at 442.18 is going to be solid, and that could be the entry of the ascending triangle breakout. So we want to keep that 442 as a solid support and bring it back up here to this 57. And then have like a consolidate, start a new channel in this area. Now eventually what goes up comes back down. So you're in a place now where you got to start thinking, okay, we're at a little risk level, but we're still bullish on the stock, And you're going to have the big dogs, the fat cats, look at this and say it's time to short. A lot of them do. They're overextended. But I think it'll pull back to 442 again maybe and start to retrace back up and then create some new resistances with that double top up here right around 455. And then create a channel in this area right in here. That's my opinion. Unless something real bad happens. Now another catalyst with Apple is China. And with the tension that's running with China and the trade wars right now, could be a catalyst to bring this stock down. But it won't hang down there too long. That's the only thing that is but I'm 100% bullish on the trade. But I know that catalyst with China going on right now could be a possibility to kind of consolidate in a new channel. Anything below that's going to be a strong buy at 442. But China does affect Apple more than it would other stocks that are in America right now. So I think that's it. Anybody have any last questions they want to ask me before I head out of here? And I really do have fun doing this. This has definitely been overextended, my 2-hour limit, by another hour. But sometimes I just get to where, I just like to share and talk and talk and talk. So I'm about done. Always keep a good watch list. Don't follow a trade blindly. Have some kind of catalyst before you enter any trade. I think that's about it, really. Always be in the now. Sit down here for you beginners. Sit down and write 5 things that want to keep you in a trade. And study those 5 things. I told you what mine were. I'm a technical charter. I like the technical side of the trade. I like being in the now. I mean, I knew Friday we were going to sell off because we had, and I kept repeating it in the room, we've had 7 wonderful days of green days. I'll look at GLD, yes. We had and stock split. That's another good reason about Apple. This stock split. I mean, you want to load up. If you're not in the trade now, load up on that split. You're going to get you one heck of a bounce. So yes, thanks for DMLK. Thanks for pointing that out. I've seen an Apple split before, I think. I've seen other stocks split before. Apple split, if I remember, from 600 to 100 or something like that. And it was just a buying opportunity. I don't think it cares about the liquidation of shares when you're in a stock like this. Sometimes stock splits are wonderful, especially if they're great companies. A forward stock split is, and a reverse stock split. Study them too. Forward stock split and a reverse one. So I'm going to go to Apple again. Support on Apple at 442.18. Strong buy. I want to keep it in this channel. Anything below that 442, have a little patience. If you see the turnaround take place, jump in it before it gets back to 442, because I guarantee it might break that resistance line. And the next one we're going to talk about is going to be GLD. What a wonderful trade. This is Corona play. The more money we print, the more this gets interesting. Had a pullback on Friday. Why? I'll tell you why. because cases were down. Corona cases were down. So it's thinking into the future, in my opinion. What a great run it's had. 20-day run from 168.22 to 195. Gold at an all-time high. Bitcoin had to run with the gold. We had an ascending triangle right here. Nice little setup. Lower highs. Had the horizontal line. Look what happened. We squeezed. Check this out. I'm always about pointing out chart patterns. We're talking about GLD. You know, we run this line to here, up to there. We're going to extend this line out and watch. That's going to be your new support level. We extended this line out from these two candles. Check this out. Bam, 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 bam. Lower highs with a resistance level. I'm going to put her, it could be higher. Let's put it up here. So this now becomes our new support for the pullback. We had an ascending triangle, nice pattern, bam, 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 bam. Now this line here could be support as it extends on out with gold. Or we could pull back to that horizontal line that would be a strong buy if it wants to hold the price of gold. And right now that's right at 185.74. So I've got two places right here, and then I've got another support level right here. And I'm going to draw that in too because I like it. I like how the double bottomed right here. Had like a little head and shoulders. Little head and shoulders pattern. See, come up, hit the high, and then pull back to that shoulder level, and then broke resistance. Gold is different than a stock, okay? Gold is running on momentum and fear. Everybody thinks you need to have your money in gold. So look, that's the way the trend was. But there's ascending triangle. That's going to be your low support at 185.74. Your second support is going to be the bottom of this trend line, and that'll keep continuing on up. Right now it's at 188.52 with your solid support right here at 189.88 to hold for a double bottom. And then break resistance. We can get back up to these newer highs of 190, 199. I think we're going to start. We're seeing a pullback here because of lower cases, and if we come in here Monday and they say it again, we'll pull back to that support level. We'll know Monday how the test all came out, but everything you play is based on Corona right now. That's what the momentum of these tech stocks are, and the gold and the Bitcoin, and just the market's real strong right now. I mean, it's looking ahead. I don't quite believe that story. A lot of people do. They think the market can predict the future. I think you just play day by day. But right now, the Corona plays have been hot. So that's Apple. Low support 185, 188 with a double bottom here to hold at 189.88 with a resistance to break at 191.99 to maybe this level right up here, right around the 192.79. forgot to look at the daily. See, here we had right here, beautiful. So yeah, the resistance to break with a double top right here at 191.36. That's what you got to write down. If we break past that 199.36, we'll get up to this new level where we pulled back twice to, and that's at 192. Then long, there's another spot right in here at 192.79, and you can move higher. So it all depends on the corona cases Monday. And that's it. I really do appreciate y'all showing up. I hope I was some help to you in any certain way. So right now I'm got another meeting I got to get to here soon in a couple hours. I'm gonna relax, hit the punching bag a little bit, have lunch, and let's have a good week next week. Always remember, please just don't follow blindly into a trade. Have a reason why you're getting into it. And always remember there's supports out there, there's pivot points, and there's resistance levels. And just keep a good outlook for them. And just play with caution. You don't use patience. That's another of my top 5 rules is patience. And I talked about, I was going to say, we've had 8 good days, I think, and there's a 7-day rule that I go by. When the market's up 7 days in a row, I look to maybe for a consolidated period or a pullback. It's between 5 and 7 days. I personally have a 5-day rule that I go by, but most of your people out there in Wall Street have a 7-day rule. When you have 7 straight days in the green, consider it's a time to pull back a little bit, consolidate, and bounce up to the newer highs. So I hope we gained some subscribers today. If you want, some of this video is going to be up on YouTube later on when YouTube goes through it. So it is recorded. I might not catch everything, 2 hours of it maybe. I've really overextended it this time. I like to keep it at that 2-hour level. But there's just a lot of talked about today, and I wish everybody a great day, and thank you very much. I love stocks. One more question, ask. I'll take it. What's your question? Apple options. What happens after a split? Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think I can answer that question. Maybe you might want to Google that. Let's see, let's look it up together. That's what I talk about, you know. I help you, you help me. So let's see what's going down here on Apple. What happens after a split in options? Underlying security increases price. The premium of a call option increases. Security decreases, and the option of a put increases. Okay, while a stock splits, the price of the option underlying security, the contract is adjusted so that any changes in price due to the split do not affect the value of the option. So I'm going to put this link in the chat. And we probably got a little more experienced option traders in here. Copy and paste that. What happens to an option when a stock splits? Takeaways. A stock split announcement means that the option contract undergoes an adjustment called being made whole. The stock split means that existing shareholders will receive additional shares, but the value of the shares will not increase at the time of the split. Similarly, a stock split will increase the total number of shares outstanding, but will not increase the market capitalization of the company. Publicly traded companies that may decline in interest in a company their own attractive. Stock split means the existing shares will receive more additional shares, but the value of the shares will not increase due to the stock split. Yeah, when the stock, okay, it'll go and it'll have an adjustment for sure. The option contract undergoes an adjustment called being made whole. So there's a little information for you. I'll probably look into this a little bit more later on. For example, when you buy an option of 100 shares of XYZ with a strike price, with a price of $75, if XYZ 2-1 split, the contract would now control 200 shares with a strike price of $37.50. So yeah, the price will go down. On the other hand, if the stock splits 3-2, the option would control 150 shares and the stock price would be $50. So there is an adjustment. Personally, I'd probably just, now we know that it's going on and you're at a good little level, take that profit and buy it on the dip. If I got that understood right. Well, there you go. Have a great day, man, everybody. I really did have fun today. Appreciate it. If you all are new to the room, you can catch us on Twitter. We're up to 4,292 followers. We're really moving up with the following. We'll post alerts in here at all times if you're not a member of the room. We're here on StockTwits. Hit that follow button. I just moved up to 2,900 followers. I'd like to see a few more in there. Vegas has got her little icon in here. Please follow Vegas. She's one heck of a tape reader. She's, everybody's changed my view on trading and helped me a lot. I give Vegas a lot of credit. There's things that I know that I hope she's learned from me, and there's things that I've been trading with this lady for 3 years every day, except when I go on vacation. Trading's far from my mind when I do that. We also have Pinterest. So if you got a Pinterest account, hit that sucker. We got a YouTube channel, and we also have a store. So if you're interested in buying merchandise, it takes a couple weeks to get it, but right now it's 20% off. I've got got me a hoodie like this one, exactly like this one. I got me a coffee mug. There's a shot glass. There's a woman's pair of panties. So, you know, do you want to know, go long or short? I've got baby jumper right here if you got some kids. Oh, I didn't see this. I'm going to order me one of these today. I didn't even know we had this. Yeah, go out and buy you I Love Stocks face mask. That is cool. I'm buying one. I gotta have it. Gotta have it. So everybody have a great day and thanks a lot. Subscribe, ring that bell for future updates.